All right, we're on one.
Okay, so now we're recording.
Yeah.
John, just to let you know what
We
we're doing.
we are live on both.
And we're recording.
We're live.
So we want to introduce John Capello to all of those that are out there watching us this morning. Oh, it's noon. What am I saying? It feels like morning because it's so dark outside and gloomy almost, and I'm still drinking coffee. But we want to welcome John to our show. He's going to be here today, and I'm going to let him tell you what we're going to talk about. But we're excited to have John Capello, and so if anybody has a question, please post it on the Facebook page, either on the Spiritual Neighborhood page or on Gail Hudson's page. I'm going to have the video on both. And John, you take it away.
Okay. Well, thank you all for the invitation to join you today. I'm delighted to be here. And, everyone has on their mind about the COVID-19 coronavirus. And so a lot of people come to the psychics and they say, well, why didn't you predict that? Or why didn't you give us a heads up on that? And really, we're in the number 4 year. We're in numerology, and in numerology, 4 means a lot of things. And of course, in metaphysics, you have positive energies and you have negative energies. You don't necessarily have bad energy; you have negative energies. And in a 4 year, unfortunately, it is considered the year of death and destruction. And it's also the year of foundations. It relates to Cancer, the 4th sign of the zodiac, which is all about nurturing and networking and taking care of the homeland and taking care of family. And when you have this negative energy of this virus that's spreading, it's a sign that we need to change our foundations, and we need to make some moves here. And so for me, as a psychic, and I can only speak as a psychic because I'm not the person in authority or anything, but this is preparing us for the next stage. A lot of people are leaving the planet with through natural means to make way for a new beginning. Just as the plague did in the medieval times, they lost about half of the population in Europe. And what happened was there was a lot of land available for people. There was a lot of other things available. Not that I'm trying to say anything positive about losing a loved one or someone around you, but it's just the way the universe works. It just there are times when we have to be prepared for a lot of potential loss. But what it does is it opens up new things. And from my perspective, it may be opening up for us to get off the planet, because we're having to deal or work together as a human race. This is the first time in my lifetime when we really had to work together as a species. Because if we don't, we face that apocalyptic, or we face that extinction moment. But this is a challenge for humanity to get better, to work together, to bring down barriers, and to do some healing, and of course protect those who are most vulnerable. And we've already lost too many people. But if we had continued on this path of not knowing our weaknesses, then it would have been another possibility of an even worse catastrophe. And I do believe we're going to get this under control. And when we do get it under control, we will have our eyes opened and we will be able to overcome it. And, another thing is about metaphysics is that with metaphysics, no matter what discipline you like to adhere to, or what you're best at, they all seem to kind of come together, And astrologically, if you talk to, I don't know, are any of you astrologers?
No.
No.
Okay. Well, right now you have Pluto has been in the 2nd house of the United States, and it's in Capricorn. And what that means is it means that we're under a complete, total transformation of our financial markets. and it won't be complete for another 4 to 5 years. But you're already starting to see how financial markets are reacting to the problems that we're having right now. Plus, because it's in the second house, it has to do with values. It has to do with how we are as a people. And what's interesting is that the last time Pluto was in this particular position, it was around the Revolutionary War in the United States. And what was happening then? We were expelling people that were overtaxing. Americans just couldn't make money. They couldn't make money because everything that they had was being taken by the crown. And they just said, wait a minute, we can't do that. Give us some relief. And Great Britain was trying to pay for all their wars. They were trying to pay for all the deficits that they had. And the United States, or people in the United States, they were ragtag compared to the British. The British were, they had the great uniforms and all of the technology of the day, but they got checkmated, and the Americans won, and then the rest is history. But so we're in this major transformation right now. Not only with Pluto, but you've got Saturn there, you've got Jupiter there, and Mars has come along and smacked everybody in the face all together right now. And for the next month or so, it's going to be kind of difficult. But that's if you want to call it the bad news. The bad news is that we're kind of in the middle of it right now, but brighter days are coming astrologically. And with the number 4, we're going to be having the effects of this all the way till the end of the year. But what it's going to do is it's going to make the markets stronger in the long run. It's going to make us a lot stronger and create a better foundation and force the world to kind of work together a little bit better. And those systems that were not forthcoming, or those systems that were not helpful, they're the ones that are going to be the ones that people are going to be reevaluating the way they look at them. So that's kind of my viewpoint of things. And of course, we have to do the best we can during this difficult time. But it's just a matter of how we have to reevaluate our value system, what's important to us, and how we treat each other. Because that's all. The second house is about Taurus, and Taurus is very much about values. It's about the deep things in the soul. It's also about money, and it's about possessions, and it's just about what your core is. It's about the core, and so it's very important, and we have to learn to use these energies in a positive way and get away from some of this polarization. So hopefully another positive from this is that we're going to be closer together.
John, I have a question. John. Earlier you said something about this is also about us looking about leaving this world. Are you talking about space travel, or are you talking about spiritual travel? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think it's about both, because spiritually we have to be strong spiritually if we're going to make that leap into space. Because what we're going to be doing when we go into space is we're going to be spreading our values. We're going to be the new ETs. And so many people have talked about how ETs have really helped mankind in many ways. They're not here to eat us. They're here to help us become better. And if you look at a lot of the advances in technology, a lot of people will say that came from extraterrestrial information. So we're being prepared to get off the planet and to colonize the moon. We don't have any place to go. Mankind in the past, from Europe, they went to China. They opened up China. They opened up this new world. They opened up all of these other things. There's no place to go. Even in our country, we had manifest destiny for so long, for so many years, and we just couldn't wait to link the East Coast with the West Coast. And so that's why once we did that, that was just a major accomplishment and opened up the entire country. And so what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the beginnings the Elon Musks and the gentleman from Amazon, Jeff Bezos. We're seeing the Virgin America. We're seeing those people. Those are the ones that have the audacity to think that they can just jump off of the planet and do something very, very special. So we're just in an amazing time, and we're privileged to witness it, I think.
So, what do you think we should be focused on for the next 6 months?
Well, we do need to evaluate our personal value system. What are our core beliefs? Where are we vulnerable? What do we hold dear? Because so many times people, especially right now with all the political polarization, is it really worth it to be that angry over someone or over something that's really is not in our immediate wheelhouse, our immediate world? And so there's things that we can do to gain perspective and to work on our spirituality, to work on those things that we should be holding dear. We used to say stop and smell the roses. Well, we're forced to stop at this time, and so now is the time to rediscover, discover, and create. That's what I tell people.
See, that's very encouraging in light of the fact that so many people are fearful right now, and so many people are afraid, and they're angry, and they're upset. And I found it fascinating on Dr. Phil yesterday. They're already talking about how many people are getting depressed from being in quarantine, and it's only been 2 weeks. So it's like there's no reserve of hope that a lot of people can pull from. And that tells me personally how depleted we are in our society, in our own spiritual upkeep. Does that make sense?
Yes, because we're so used to immediate gratification. You do this and you get that. And now we're forced to be patient, which is a virtue. And so patience as a virtue needs to be exhibited, and we need to handle our grief. And we're so used to escaping, and that's what addiction is. A lot of addiction is about. It's about escapism. Well, now we're not able to escape the way that we have in the past. So now we have to look at ourselves, look at our families, work out issues. Because they're saying that when this is all over, we're going to see a lot of divorce, and we're going to see a lot of separation and from families. Well, that's such a shame. It's a shame. I hope that that's not true. But we may also see a baby boom.
Not in my house. No babies here.
We have a daughter who's pregnant now. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you. We just adopted a dog, and so a lot of people are doing that as well.
Even more congratulations.
Yeah, so there's a lot of new things that are going to be budding from this negative period of time, and so I hope I don't sound like I'm discounting all of the difficulties that people are having, because I don't mean to do that, but it's just a time for us to kind of deal with the situation the best that we can. And another thing we need to learn to do, from my perspective, is detach, because we have to detach from our bills. We have to detach from those things that we worried about in the past, because detachment is another virtue that I don't think we practice so much because if we are able to detach from things that are holding us back, whether it's an emotional issue or our finances or something else. Now, detachment doesn't mean abandon your family or anything like that, but it does mean that if you're allowing something to absorb, be all-encompassing in your life, we have to detach from it, because another thing they're saying is that suicide is going to be rampant in the near future, and part of that is an inability to detach. You know.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
Pardon me?
I said, I'm so glad that you brought that up because, I have a personal interest in the mental health field. And, we always see a rise in suicide and suicide attempts when the stress is high, which is during holidays, which most people consider to be happy. But they're very stressful because of the interpersonal relationships or lack of, and because of the weather and possible isolation. And that's been one of the things that I have been thinking about what I can do to kind of up my game a little bit in helping people, because if the holidays, happy times are stressful, how bad is this for other people that lack coping skills and options? And I was actually having a conversation with someone about this the other day, and they just poo-pooed it, like, oh, it's no big deal. And so, again, it brings to the forefront for me personally how there's a lack of understanding of where suicide comes from, and depression and stress and anxiety.
That's right, and we can no longer be dismissive because our issues are right there in front of us. So I don't know who it was that dismissed your concern, but at some point in time, when are they going to deal with reality? You can only sweep things under the rug for so long, and so many times people allow issues to come out to fester for years. And they don't want to communicate, or they don't want to talk to other people about them, and you wind up with a cathartic moment, where it's not something negative occurs that could have been avoided.
I just fell in love with you, John, for you saying that. I just fell in love with you.
He's a very man.
He is. I've had the good fortune to see John a couple of times, but I don't know him well, and I haven't had a lot of personal experience with him. So, John, we're kind of doing this a little backwards. Tell people about your background and who you are and what your gifts are and why you do what you do.
Well, first of all, I do what I do in order to help people. That's my primary focus. But I grew up in the food business. I have a bachelor's in economics. I have an MBA. And I was very heavily involved with our family business. And the world changed on us as a family business. And so I had to do something different. I was involved in politics for a while. But my gifts have led me to becoming a full-time psychic medium, and I do travel a region. I travel all the way to Kansas and Tennessee and all around Texas and Louisiana. And I'm the author of several books. I have this was my first book. This is Open the Mind, Exercise the Soul, and I have a workbook that goes along with it. I don't happen to have it right here. But that's soul exercises for the open mind. And then I have this is my last book, was Open the Mind and Heal the Heart. I have a children's book out as well, and that's called Mom, There's an Angel in the Kitchen.
Oh, wow. I love that. Are these available on Amazon, John?
Yeah, they're all available on Amazon. And Open the Mind, Heal the Heart is a metaphysical book about grief. And,
I got to get that.
It takes a macro, or takes a big picture perspective of grief, and it shows how there's different categories of grief, and ironically, it's loosely associated with astrology, which is another love of mine. So that's a little bit about what I do. And then I have a website, just johncapello.com.
And we have that on the Spiritual Neighborhoods. They can go to your website and find your books as well, can't they?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So,
Good.
yeah.
So, do you take private clients, or you just do public speaking?
I take private clients. You can book online on my website, and I do 30-minute, 1-hour sessions. So, and I have a coupon coming up next week.
I love coupons.
Because we'll post it on our page.
Yes, it's on my web. It'll be on my website next week.
We'll make sure everybody knows about it.
Okay. All right.
Now, this is a funny note for everybody. John has meetups. Was it once a month that you have your meetups?
Yes, it's the second Wednesday of the month, and we meet at Spring Creek Barbecue in Addison. And this year we've been focusing on clairvoyance because of the year 2020, because of you know making bringing clarity. And once it's like I say, once again with this horrible virus that's come up, it's going to bring some clarity to us about where we stand, and in every aspect of our life.
So this is the funny note. We called John, or Gail did, and said, we need a place to have a meetup. We don't want to step on your toes, though. Can we go to the same restaurant on a different night to do our spiritual neighborhood? And he's like, sure. He was very loving. He embraced us. And then did we get to do it? No. Because the virus came up, and so we had to cancel it, which led us to this brilliant idea of doing Zoom and Facebook Live. So we look forward to seeing John when we can all go back out and eat barbecue again, and hope that you come see him, and hope you come see us, and we're all neighbors. Get it? Spiritual neighborhood. Get it?
I'm delighted to. Thanks. And you have to come to my meetup so we can advertise your meetup.
Well, I want to hear more about what you see in our near future, because it sounds like you're looking at this from two perspectives. This is what I got so far. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're looking at this through your gift as a psychic, but you also did the research through the numerology part of the astrology, which I know nothing about, so I'm not going to try to sound like I do. So to me, that's going, okay, there's a good balance there in your information, okay? What do you see is something that you're excited about, that you can have a real clear picture about, and you're really excited about in the next 6 months to a year?
Well, for me, the biggest part for me is the healing that's going to come, because it's like I say, so many people right now they're addicted to anger. And people are going to be going to have to kind of let go of some of this anger, because it holds people back in life, because it holds you back in your relationships, it holds back your creativity, it holds back so many areas in your life, I guess I'm more of an optimist than anything, and when I was doing my predictions for this year, I felt like this was going to be a good year for money. I felt like it was going to be a good year for a lot of things. But it's also it's like I say, if your foundation has not been working for you, this is the year to change it. This is the year to make some big changes in your life, and to create a new way of doing things for you. And if you're not happy with your career, that career may not be there when this is all over. Who knows? You might be forced to make a change. So if you have to, if you're thinking of making some career changes, or you're wanting to find your passion, this is the year to do it, because next year is a 5 year. Lots of change, lots of going. Lots of activity, and this recovery is going to be up and down. It's going to be peak and valley. That's the way I see it. But overall, I think that it's we're going to be better from this.
Now you talked.
If you have, pardon me.
I'm sorry, John. I'm so sorry. But you said that a lot of this is about being addicted to anger. Can you talk about the relationship between anger and grief, since you wrote the book about grief and how they work together?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the 5 stages of grief. A lot of people are saying that the period that we're in is a grief cycle. And the first area of grief is shock and denial. So a lot of people are in shock, and those people that are in denial are the ones that aren't adhering to the guidelines, and they're the ones that need to have a little bit of a reality check. But as we move from the shock and denial aspect, we go to anger. And for me, there are different kinds of anger. Okay, there's the anger of abandonment. We had to abandon everything we were doing, and it's like when we lose a loved one, we're angry that they didn't mean to leave us, but we're angry because we feel abandoned, and then we get angry because of the futility of the situation, because we can't change it. We're stuck, So for me, there's just different kinds of anger, and you have to go through that. I have at least 4 different angers, and I've got to pull them up to look at. I didn't expect to talk about this, but when you have all of these different types of angers, for instance, a lot of times death brings families back together because even though they were mad at their Aunt Lucy, or they were mad at their brother or sister, they're all of a sudden when dad dies or mom dies, they got to see each other at the funeral home, and they got to be nice. And they may not stay there, but a lot of times people forget what they're angry about. So it's letting go of that anger, letting go of the past, letting go of those past hurts. Those things are healthy. Letting go of it, because anger is stressful. It's a very stressful emotion, and to not have it, to let it go, is liberating. It's just so liberating to not have that anger, and even if you don't fully regain your relationship with the person that you might have been angry with, at least that weight of the anger is gone. So now the next stage of grief is what they call bargaining. Okay, and bargaining is if I had done this, would this have happened? That sort of thing, or what could I have done to make things better? And we're going to see that from governments. Of course, when this is all over, there's going to be probably all kinds of lawsuits and stuff. Oh. That's just the way it is. This person should have done that, they should have done this, or all that stuff. So, but we're going to be doing a lot of bargaining because people are going to be saying, well, when this first happened, I should have been better prepared, or I should have done these things. So we're going to go through this period of bargaining, even with employers. And it's like I say, a lot of people will be doing these things in order to look for new careers or a new path in life. And then the next stage is depression, because depression is that stage where we turn inward, and that's when we really do look at ourselves, look at our values, and look at where we need to make changes. And this is when we need to learn to be detached. This is when we need to learn to love ourselves. This is when we need to learn to grow. We need to be able to grow from this experience. And then the last stage, of course, is what they call acceptance. So by being able to accept your situation and being able to accept what's happened, it doesn't change the negativity or the grief event that happened in your life. But what it does is it gives you the ability to cope, okay? And it gives you the ability to move on if you've accepted it. So, and of course, acceptance is another virtue, which is what my cure for grief is: virtue, the practice of virtue. Because if you practice virtue, then it forces you to have a positive energy to work against the negative energy of grief and sadness. And that's what virtues are for. Virtues are to provide positive energy to combat sadness or negativity.
So I love that. I absolutely love what you just said. With that in mind, with everyone sitting at home and not being able to leave, or they shouldn't leave, stay home, dadgummit. What practice or exercise, or what do you suggest that they could do every day for 5 to 10 minutes to help them move further in their development of virtue?
Well, one of the things I think meditation is always a positive. Creating some affirmations, positive affirmations about wanting to be a better person or wanting to create a better life, not for them, not just for themselves, but for other people. And then creating that plan of moving forward. Those things are very good. That spiritual introspection. You're going to see a lot of people suddenly maybe go back to their faith a little bit and rediscover what their maybe childhood values were, and so that's what people need to be doing, planning, and it's like I say, rediscovery, discovery, and creativity. Those are things that I think people need to be doing. I know my wife's cleaning out closets and stuff like that.
All of that is happening.
Yeah, a lot of that. Now's the time to work on the yard. Get the sprinkler system fixed if you can do it. Those sorts of things. So you get all those honeydew things accomplished, and just use this time for growth. Use for spiritual and relationship growth. That's what I think.
It's real.
Instead of sitting down and making plans for vacation, which we're on kind of in essence right now.
Yeah.
Sitting down and making a plan for life once we move from this.
Yeah, become a better person.
Well, what I find for me personally is that these little things that we let pile up, like cleaning the closets and working in the yard, we let them pile up because we're so busy doing what it is we do. But those are the things that really make my quality of life feel better when I do them.
It's a weight lifted off of you.
Yeah, and so why do we ignore those? I mean, seriously, I do feel better when my closet is clean and my clothes are color coordinated. Yes, they are, and things of that nature. And when I get rid of the clutter, and why am I hanging on to this that I've had for 30 years and I don't even know where it came from, much less why I kept it, because it's ugly. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
So
it's time to move on. It's time to leave the past behind us, but we learn from our past. We oftentimes we need to have a kind of reverence or a peace with the past. You see, in the book, right here, I have Heal the Heart. It happens to be 12 letters. And so, when you're in a grief situation, the first thing you have to do, healing is a decision. Okay? So you have to decide to get better. And that's a decision you have to keep working on all the time. And then the next area is an E, which is express gratitude. Because no matter what happens, you're alive, if you're well, if you have some things going for you, if you have the opportunity to rebuild, express gratitude for that. You can't fall into that negative attitude. And the next thing is be adaptable, because we're all being forced to be adaptable. If we're not adaptable now, if we can't look at things differently, if we can't, the next one is learn to cope. Because write down 15 things that make you feel good. Watch a movie, go work in the yard, walk the dog. These are things that you can do to cope. Another one is take action. Be proactive. That's the cleaning of the closets. That's the if you can paint that room, that's a good thing. Another thing is healthy habits. I mean, if you've been wanting to quit smoking, maybe now's the time to work on that. Now's the time to exercise a little bit. And the next thing is engage others where you can, just like we're doing right now. This is a new way of networking, and I think that's a good thing. And then being humble and not boastful or not trying to be self-righteous. Just be a little humble. Listen a little bit more. Be a little bit more accepting of other people's points of view. Exert integrity is another one. Be a person of integrity, because if there's a chance to volunteer, or like I gave blood prior to all this, because they're always, whenever there's a crisis, do something like give blood. Have some ambition. Work on those home projects that are going to make your life better. And then this is an interesting one: responsible reflection. Because when you've had a loss, sometimes you got to look back, and it's like having that tombstone. You go to the cemetery and you reflect. You reflect on your life with that person, or you reflect on that period of your life. And then the next thing is time. To take enough time for you to experience what you need to experience, and not rush the healing process. So that's those are just kind of my philosophy, a metaphysical philosophy from my standpoint, for grief and for healing and things we can do now.
Well, I love everything that you said, and I hope that you will consider coming back and being with us again, because
I'd be delighted.
I'm fascinated, and one of the things with Spiritual Neighborhood, one of our goals is to bring so many different people together that have maybe different foundations, but we all get to the same place just from different directions. And
exactly, that's right. It's like I say in metaphysics, we all come from different places, but we all can wind up together.
Yes, and so, for example, I just want to make this point. I don't know anything about astrology, but everything you said to me is just common sense, common decency, and commonality between humanity,
Kathy Garland, she missed what the A stand for in heart. Could you read?
Adaptability, being adaptable.
Okay.
Order the book.
Well, and Kathy is a good friend of mine, and she also watches our videos live, and we appreciate that, Kathy. And Vicki Albin said hello to everybody. And for those of you who are watching, if you missed anything, this is recorded. You can come back and watch it. We're also putting it on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it. If you wanted to check out John's website, the link is on the Spiritual Neighborhood page. So Kathy's giving you 2 thumbs up for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And she said thank
Elizabeth,
you.
give him the card. Give him the card, Elizabeth. We have a system. There's your number, John. We have a system here.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you.
That's spot on. Absolutely spot on.
When I behave myself, I get the number, but I don't get the number all the time.
I'm going to give you an A+.
Well, thank you.
Way to go.
Well, thanks once again for the invitation to be on, and I'd love to come back, and you have to come to some of my events and tell everyone about what you're doing as well. So thanks again.
Thank you. Is there any more questions or comments?
Let's see here. Do we have anybody else? I think another question popped up. Let me look real quick, because I'm going back and forth 2 pages.
Yeah, just so you know, John, this is live on the Spiritual Neighborhood page. It's also live on my personal page. It's also live
on my personal page.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked on yours, Deborah. So, Lisa, a friend of mine, she's saying thank you, great discussion. Let me go to Deborah's and see if we have any questions on.
Yeah, because I can't watch that and do what I'm doing.
We cover, we don't want to miss anybody. And we're just getting a lot of hearts and thumbs up for the discussion.
Yeah.
So we're happy. Everybody's pleased with this discussion today, and that it helps you get through your day and each and every day until we're out of this quarantine.
I only have one more question for John for our closing. John, do you feel lucky to be surrounded by 3 beautiful women?
Of course. Social distancing.
Oh, wait till we get out of this. Oh my! Look, I made John blush. Oh my God.
I just was going to say, Elizabeth, you're not alone. John's blushing over here.
I am.
Thank you, John. Directed it towards you today. Thank you.
That's my talent, John, to make people blush.
Okay. You made me blush.
I loved everything you said, though. It just resonated with me. It made me feel very uplifted. It made me feel hopeful. It made me glad to be here today. And I just want to thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And
Once
so,
again, thank you.
so if
Absolutely.
anybody wants any information, go to the neighborhood, spiritual neighborhood page for any information on John Capello.
All right.
Elizabeth, do you have anything? Because Elizabeth, you haven't been able to pop in very much.
Well, sometimes you just need to sit and listen, and I'm trying to practice what John's talking about, just to sit and listen, and to be respectful of important information. And I think sometimes the best way to honor another individual is not, I really don't have anything that would top what he just said as far as a question. That answered pretty much everything.
Well,
And I just want to hear. I just want to listen. I want to pay attention to what he has to say. Because I think one of the things that I think that is important in this situation is getting an honest, reflective opinion based on metaphysics, science, fact, and let us make our determinations from that and not just one specific way. I know a little bit about astrology, not nearly enough, but to me, all of this just makes perfect sense. The idea about the numbers, totally forgot all about that. We are in the year of the rat. From the Chinese New Year, it's the year of the rat, which is a bringer of death and destruction if left uncared for and not having a hold on it. So this makes just perfect sense to me, and I love the fact that you were talking about the number 5. That's major change, and of course that's where we are. But I just found myself thinking, holy cow, I've not heard that one before. I haven't heard that before, and I love the virtue, practicing virtues. It's like all of a sudden it's something new for me to think about. It's like I never thought about that.
Well, one thing before we close, I want to tell you about a website that I've become a writer for. It's called yourtango.com, and they have a lot of astrologers, and they have a lot of metaphysicians there, but they also have a lot of traditional therapists on it. And it's a very good website, and I'm pleased they asked me to be a part of it. There's a lady there by the name of Melanie Gorman. She was a principal promoter of John Gray, who did Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So she's a part of that group, and so I'm delighted about being there, and so it's just something that if you subscribe to, you'll get daily information from them. And they used to be a paper magazine, and they've gone online. And they have another one called Medium. Medium is another one of those online article websites with a lot of good information on them as well.
Is it called yourtango.com?
Yourtango.com. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I hope I didn't ask too many questions. It's my job as an investigator, and it just comes naturally.
No, I'm delighted to answer them. It's like I say, I think that my, I know I'm promoting my book, but I don't, like you said, I don't think people have heard things that I brought, that the book shows, and that's why I think it has value. And I think people in metaphysics deserve a lot more credit than what they get, because what do we provide? We provide a lot of insight. We provide a lot of honesty to people when they are seeking our advice. And so I feel like my book is a methodology to explain things.
Well, I love it, and I will be ordering your books. I have the first one, but I don't have that one, so I will be ordering that. And I really, really, really loved everything you said. I do. So I appreciate you very much.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to sign off, I guess.
I think it's time for us to close the door to the hood.
All right, I'm going to hit finish. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, John. Thank you,
You're welcome.
everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
John. Really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.